The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The recommended customers play just $5, $100 bonus funds. Use promo code NBA SGPN. And welcome everyone to the NBA Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Currently Wednesday morning, December 3rd, around 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm host Reichel, joined again by Lonte Smith. Together, we're going to break down the games for Wednesday. Lonte, how's it going with you? What's up?
Not bad, man. Decent action last night. Some of the games were probably not they were played better than what this point spread indicated. Speaking of that Minnesota New Orleans game, but yeah, overall, man, it's been a solid week of NBA play. We got a decent card today. Hopefully, we can find everybody some winners.
Yeah, a win's a win, but damn, I was unimpressed by Minnesota. But they were able to get the job done there in the fourth quarter. Nice win for Boston. They
Yeah.
were up 20. They blew it, and then they ended up holding on to win in the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown at a 40-piece. So nice job by him. Yeah, Boston looks good at the moment. I'm not saying they're going to win the East or anything, but they were better than we thought they were going to be. So good for Missoula, good for Jaylen Brown, and good for the Celtics at this point in time. As for the Knicks, still can't really play any defense on the road, and they lost another road game. So there you go. Besides that, Toronto won a close game against Portland. I know that Terrell and I thought Portland would cover, and they did. Besides that, San Antonio won again, beat Memphis. OKC beat Golden State, which was not a surprise at all with no Curry, and basically it. So, as you said before, a couple of competitive games, but I would say nothing too shocking in terms of upsets. In fact, I believe the favorite won every game. Or the Knicks might have closed as favorites, but initially the Celtics were favored. So no shocks at all. All of the original favorites won yesterday. We'll see if there's any drama that takes place on Thursday. One upset, though, we talked about before we went live. North Carolina, a nice win by the Tar Heels there in Rupp. Kentucky made 2 shots in the last 13-plus minutes. It was disgusting basketball. But you know what? A win's a win. Shout out to Caleb Wilson. Shout out to Dixon, who came in off the bench after Luka fouled out. And he had a couple of big points in the last minute or so. But yeah, nice win for North Carolina. So there you go. That's all I have to really say. But yeah, anything you want to add on that game?
Nah, that's about it, man. I think he pretty much summed it up. It's a good win for sure. And we'll be seeing a couple of those guys play at the next level. Visar was really good as well. He kind of reminds me of Zubac, to be honest. I think he's probably an underrated NBA prospect that we'll be talking about next year.
Yeah, he had a big dunk down the stretch. A very nice play design by Davis. But either way, a point is nice win there for UNC. Anyway, point is, before we get into any of the games for Wednesday, a brief reminder that we do have a current sale going on the merch store, which is expiring at the end of the week. So make sure you get in on the action. A reminder, if you use code HOLIDAY at checkout at the SGPN merch store, get a quarter off everything in the merch store ends at the end of the week. So make sure to capitalize on the deal before it expires. But check out the SGPN merch store. Once again, code HOLIDAY for a quarter off everything in the merch store. So moving on to the actual games for Wednesday. Starting off with Portland on a back-to-back. They are taking on the Cavaliers. Cavs are laying 10.5. The over-under is 240.5. Portland, said before, lost a heartbreaker to Toronto. Fun game, just fell a bit short there. You're looking at the injury report. Still no Drew Holiday. Still no Scoot. Tybal and Wesley are out. Now, Klingon did play yesterday. I know he missed the game prior. We'll see if he plays a back-to-back. I'm not sure he's going to, so keep an eye out for Klingon. He might be a late addition to the scratch list for this game. For Cleveland, though, still no Nance Jr., no Jared Allen, no Strus, but Garland is active. They still have Mitchell, you still have Mobley, etc. But Cleveland 13-9. They've not been very good. Did bury Indiana last game. Indiana stinks, but still a win's a win. Portland on a back-to-back with travel, and they have not been good recently. They're currently 8-13. 10.5, though. A lot of points for a Cleveland team that has not been very trustworthy this season. Massive total, too. Alante, what do you like in this game?
Yeah, I like dog and under. I know they're off a back-to-back, so I can kind of see how. I think Cleveland's been off for like 2 days, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, I understand why the number is high. I don't think it should probably be this high, especially with no, they're having to move Evan Mobley to the 5, and with no Jared Allen. If Klingon does play, they can present some problems there on the interior. And throughout the season, I mean, I don't think that Cleveland has looked good at all. I know they're dealing with some of the stuff that is, the players in and out of the lineup and no continuity, but they haven't looked the part at all, especially trusting them to cover a big number like this against a Portland team who's feisty. Avdia is solid. He'll be a matchup nightmare for Evan Mobley and even some of those other guys who are trying to guard him. I do like some of the young pieces that the Trailblazers, well, not young, but some of the pieces that the Trailblazers have. Wing. So I'm going to take the dog here, man. I think it's too many points. I understand the logic behind it, but again, I mean, I just don't. I mean, they haven't been covering numbers at all. I can understand if they've been, covering numbers but not looking good, but they haven't done either. So it's hard for me to lay this big of a number. With a Portland team that's going to be feisty, they're going to fight. They temporarily, I mean, they usually don't get blown out a ton. I have to look at their results, but I mean, how many times have they been actually blown out?
I know Terrell mentioned it yesterday. I know the Trailblazers' record as a dog is incredible.
Yeah,
So they tend to hang in games.
Yeah, so they're feisty. Splitters got them playing okay, and that's a real big adjustment going from one coach to the other. Obviously, different philosophies. I mean, some of the stuff is probably a little bit of the same, but you're still going from a different leader to another one who doesn't have head coaching experience. So they're kind of learning everything on the fly, and have still been able to cover games and then win some of these games as well. So I like the dog. I like the under. I think the Blazers defense is being a little bit better. They'll probably want to slow the game down a little bit as well. So give me dog and under.
Yeah, I see Rozier in the comment section saying that the Trailblazers can't win without Holiday and Grant, but at least they can cover games.
Yeah, that's
Kind of how it goes. So, yeah, Holiday was a big piece for them, at least maturity-wise, and as a point guard. Right now, Avdia is running the show, and Avdia has been great stats-wise, but when it comes to actually orchestrating an offense, you'd rather have some experienced actual point guard play. So, I think Cleveland wins, but I'll go 1-10. Kind of in the middle. I think that Portland's not going to win the game on a back-to-back, but I do think that Cleveland will not really run away with this game. So I'll go for Cleveland to win the game, but I like Portland plus 10.5. Moving on to the
next. ATS. Portland, 10-3 ATS as a dog.
Yeah, so once again, they're great at keeping games close, but not actually winning outright. So there you go. Moving on to the next game, Nuggets taking on the Pacers. The Nuggets have been really bad at beating up on bad teams this season. And for the Pacers, this team stinks. So we'll see what happens. Nuggets are laying 7.5 on the road. The over-under is 234.5. Injury report. So Jamal Murray might not play. You're looking at no Brown, no Gordon, no Strother. But, of course, the main two are Brown and Gordon because this team can't guard anybody right now. For Indiana, still missing a bunch of guys. Still missing Toppin, no Nesmith, no Jackson, no Jones. But Furphy's a questionable tag. Mainly Toppin and Nesmith, and of course Halliburton. But of course they got Mathurin, they got McConnell back, so they did get some reinforcements compared to a couple weeks ago. But the team's still not any good. So Lonte will ask you because they got Jay Huff and Isaiah Jackson trying to guard Joker, which is not a good sign. But Murray might not play, and we know the defense has been abysmal for Denver lately. Totals dropped, which I found kind of surprising because I don't think Denver can guard anybody. I like the over in the game, but I do think Denver should rout them because matchup-wise, Indiana has no answers on the interior for the best player in the world. So I'll go Denver, but I prefer the over. I really don't know why this total drops when Denver gave up. I forgot exactly how many points. They gave up 131 to Dallas.
Yeah.
I got to go over. Nembhard had a perfect game. The other Nembhard. Now he's against the brother. So if Ryan Nembhard has a perfect game, I have questions about your backcourt defense. I'll go with the over, but I'll go with Denver. Denver could score 130.
Yeah, I love the over in the game as well, and I think Nuggets will bounce back after that 10-point loss, 10-point home loss to Dallas a few days ago. And we talked about the Pacers. The Pacers have been, I mean, it's not been pretty, but they've been covering games. I think they covered 3 of the last 4. They've won 2 of the last 3, so they're fighting. I mean, I think that's what you expect from a Rick Carlisle coach team. It's kind of next man up, and they just don't have the bodies to kind of endure the long physical, I guess taxing of what a season is going to be. So I expect them to kind of fade a little bit more as we get down the stretch past All-Star break because a lot of those guys will be probably sitting, draft position and all that. And if you can take advantage of that in this draft, potentially get a lottery pick, I mean, who knows, get a top 3-4 pick, I think that'll be big for the Pacers. But in this specific game, I think the number is a little bit too short. I think they were laying 9.5 last month. And I guess that was in Denver. I think everybody was a little bit more healthier. But again, 7.5 with no Jamal. I thought the number should be probably about the
Well, once
same.
again, Jamal's a maybe. I'm not going to say that it's officially no Jamal.
Yeah, and even then, like if he goes, we're getting a discount here because I think this number should probably be where it was in that last matchup. So I like Nuggets. I do like the over. Neither team is going to play a lot of defense. Don't think that the Pacers have a lot of answers for Joker in that pick and roll. So I'm going to take the over. I like the team total over for the Nuggets a whole lot. Like you said, I think they could score close to 130.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I see Justin saying that last night he took Joker triple-double with Denver to win at plus 115. Good price because Joker had a monster triple-double the first time around. They can't guard him, so I'm completely fine with that. Anyway, moving on to the next game, you have the Spurs, who have been good since Wemby got hurt. Fox has done a good job of leading that team, taking on the Magic, who've been really good without Paolo, and they've been in good form lately. Magic laying 8.5. It was 6.5. Now it's up to 8.5. Over-under's 236.5. Now, Spurs played yesterday. Nice win against Memphis, was competitive, but they were able to get the job done there in the fourth quarter. Harrison Barnes with 31 last night. Nice job by him. Now, Orlando, mentioned before, Paolo is going to be out for this game. No Mo Wagner still. Besides that, for San Antonio, still no Castle, no Wemby, but for the most part, same roster and same lineup as yesterday. So San Antonio played at home. Now they're traveling to Orlando for a back-to-back against a team that has really picked it up defensively and a team that's been really, really good for the last 2-3 weeks. San Antonio, though, has proven that even without Wemby, this team is feisty. They can sneak up on you and at least keep games close. 8.5 feels like a lot, but it's understandable based on the actual scheduling spot. Lonte, what do you think? Do you think the Spurs keep it close or win? Or do you think the Magic just blow them out because the Spurs will be exhausted?
Yeah, I kind of like the Magic here. They're 7-3 ATS the last 10. Typically, they perform well at home, but they haven't been this year as far as covering numbers. And when you look at the home road splits for San Antonio, a lot of this is with Wemby. So, and they're still not good. They're 3-8-1, 3-9-1. I'm sorry. 3-5-1. It's 9 total games. 3-5-1 ATS on the road, and off of a back-to-back. They had that game against Memphis was really competitive. They gave a lot of energy early on in that game, and they kind of pulled away late. But I thought that was a good showing by Memphis. Been playing well since Edie has been back as well. So that's a good win for them. It's not a win like we thought it would have been. Back when Memphis was playing like really, really bad. But I think the Magic are the better team here in this specific spot. 8.5 is pretty high, but I would go that way if I had to. Maybe if you want to go Magic first quarter, first half. To kind of get in, get out. But 8.5 seems a little rich. I would prefer maybe taking the Magic early on. And I'll ask you this before we get into the next game. Did you see the Chandler Parsons thing about Paolo and Mosley?
Okay, so for the record, I saw a bit of it because it popped up in my Twitter feed.
Okay.
Which is code word for I saw it and immediately skipped it.
Okay.
But look, I'll put it this way. I will go out of my way to avoid Chandler Parsons content the same way that I avoid Gilbert Arenas content. Okay. So I don't actually care what he has to say, but I'm aware of where you're going with this. People think there's a sort of rift between Paolo and Mosley. I believe where you're going with this, right?
Yeah, but I didn't watch it. That's why I was going to ask you if you. I didn't watch it either.
I refuse to watch any Chandler Parsons content.
Yeah, I thought I didn't skip over it on purpose. It's just kind of like one of those things where I saw it and then I had to put my phone down and it kind of refreshed and I couldn't get back to it and I didn't think to go search for it. But that was the first time I saw something like that and I didn't know if you saw it. So that's the reason why I asked.
No, I did the same thing you did. I saw the headline, I skipped it. Yeah. I mean, look, whether you think there's a rift between Paolo and Mosley, it doesn't matter because Paolo's still not playing because he's injured. So why does that matter at all? Like that shouldn't make a difference. Now, I think the Magic look better without Paolo. That is not Mosley related. I just think the ball movement's better without a guy who likes to play in isolation, is how I'll phrase it with Paolo. I think Paolo's a very talented player, but I do think his game is more predicated on a prehistoric offensive style. Can you imagine Paolo playing in like the late 2000s, early 2010s? But that would be right up his alley. But in today's NBA, I know Shea is a very ISO-driven player, but Shea, of course, is the best at it in the entire league. Paolo, with his inconsistent jump shooting, mostly underwhelming jump shooting, there are problems stylistically with the way that he plays. And we've seen other guys step up when the ball is moving a lot better. Anthony Black looks fantastic on this team.
He's great.
Franz kind of has similar tendencies to Paolo in terms of his ability to score in isolation, but he's significantly more selfless with the basketball, which I think is the main difference between the two of them. I mean, I've been pitching Franz being better than Paolo for a couple of years already. All the advanced metrics support it, and the Magic being good without Paolo record-wise also supports it. But I don't really agree with the coach hates the guy. I just think that you can make the argument that Paolo is not really built for the modern NBA, which sounds like I'm being a hater, but I think the results speak for themselves, don't they?
Yeah, I'm probably not as strong on it as you. I just didn't know. Like that was my.
I'm not saying that like he's officially, a scrub. I'm just saying I think the argument you could make is that Paolo's play style does feel a little bit, I'd say, limiting to a team ceiling. That's how it feels so far in his career.
Yeah, it kind of just depends. It kind of just depends on how you view it and how your viewpoints of him. I mean, I love Paolo. I think that.
He's a great talent. I just think that he has a bit of a misunderstanding on what I'd say winning basketball is in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, early on, he just didn't have the guys around him where he could not, nobody can shoot. Nobody could shoot.
Oh, no, I toss out all the bad Orlando stuff, but I kind of spent the last year or two, when there's a decent sample and your team's better when you don't play, I think that matters.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it. But look, at the end of the day, do I think Parsons had any proof that they don't like each other? No. I think he's clickbait chasing, which is pretty standard for that show. But I do think Orlando is a very good team right now. But San Antonio's been good in back-to-backs. They're 2-0. I think that this team can keep this game competitive. We saw the Bulls hang in there against Orlando. They lost the game, but they were able to hang in there. The Bulls have been in a tailspin for the last couple of weeks. I don't mind Orlando 1-10. I think I'm looking at a spot where Orlando might win this game in a close battle. I'm not going to go with a route, but I do think you're looking at a spot where the Spurs keep this game close. So I'll go for Magic 1-10 in this game. Andre saying that he's shocked I'm taking Franz over Paolo. Look, I think that if it was a 1v1 battle, I would take Paolo, but it's a 5-on-5 game. So I would rather have Franz on my team than Paolo. So there you go. That's my thoughts on that. Also, Andre, you're a regular listener to the show. This shouldn't be a hot take for me. I've been saying this for like a year. So I don't know if you just missed that, but yeah, I've been in the Franz over Paolo camp for a long time. So I think Paolo's more talented, but I do think that Franz is right now better equipped for a 5-on-5 team setting. That's how I would phrase the difference between the two of them. Anyway, before we get into, you like the over/under for this game?
I would go over before going under. I mean, I don't have a strong take on it, but I would go over because I think while the Magic's defense has improved, and there's still some holes in it, and also their offense has been phenomenal since they had that little tailspin early in the season.
Yeah, I think for this game, you know what, I'll be different. I'll go with the under. But I don't feel great about it at all. I think that this game's going to be close, but the Bulls and Magic game was trending under, and then the Bulls decided to full court press for no reason. So they kind of just resulted in the game exploding in that second half. But the game was trending under, and the Bulls don't really guard anybody. I think it'll be a close physical game, so I'll go with the under personally for this one. CM saying that Paolo's talents are being misused. Maybe, but it is a bit weird if his talents are being misused and the team is winning almost every game when he doesn't play. That is kind of weird. So I can't say that Mosley's been terrible at talent evaluation when they're winning all these games when he doesn't play. So it's kind of a catch-22. Either Mosley's a bad coach for not recognizing how to use Paolo, or he's a great coach for winning all these games when he doesn't play. It's kind of a catch-22 there, so it's pretty tricky to evaluate. But, look, it's a hot take. I get Paolo as a former number one pick. I get that he's more talented than Franz. I think Franz has proven he's a better I'll use the word teammate at this point in his career. Anyway, before we get into the remainder of the card for Wednesday, reminder, they're brought to you by our sponsor, Novig. So if you like getting some good prices, check out Novig, the number one prediction market for sports in America. You get some great prices available in 35 plus states. Download the app when you do so. Get a nice deal with us. Get $50 and spend just $5 if you use our code SGPN. Get the extra Novig, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. So if you like pick 'em entries, chance to win 5,000 times your entry, pick higher or lower on player stats, mix and match your sports and leagues, NBA with NHL, with NFL. Check it out. New offer for the customers. Play just $5. Get $100 bonus phones. Use promo code NBA SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the McGowan Podcast. Finished going through the first couple games for Wednesday. Time to move on into the next game. Moving on to the Clippers, taking on the Hawks. Hawks are laying 3.5. The over-under is 226.5. Injury report. You have no Bogdanovich. You have no Derrick Jones Jr. And unfortunately, the premature end of the retirement tour. Chris Paul has been sent home from the Clippers. Now, Lonte, I might need some confirmation from you. Was he officially cut, or did he get the John Wall treatment and they sent him home, but he's still technically on the Clippers?
So, what I haven't read deep dove into it, but to me, it looks like they just parted ways. Like, he wants to play. Like, I think that it's more so like he wants to play and actually contribute to a team, and the Clippers don't want him to contribute or don't believe he can. So they just mutually parted ways, and probably obviously nobody's going to trade for him. So, not trying to trade him or anything like that. So they probably just agreed to say, hey, we're going to release you. I guess maybe pay you some of your salary or whatever the case may be, and then get over it. But that's how
this is the thing. I want Chris Paul to be cut because I want him on an actual team.
Oh, yes.
Having your final season on the Clippers as this team dies with no first-round pick of their own is depressing as hell. I know Chris Paul's washed. That's not the point. The point is, do I think that it would be more fun to see him mentoring some guys on other teams? Yeah, of course. Yeah. Like, it's just depressing seeing him on this Clippers team as his last hurrah. Yeah. So if he's still on the Clippers, but he got the John Wall treatment, then that sucks.
No, I
if
think
he's actually a free agent, then I feel happy for him.
Yeah, I think he's done, but I think they mutually parted ways, so it wouldn't sound as bad as like, oh, hey, the Clippers cut him. But essentially, I think that's what happened.
I also like how I asked the question of what exactly happened. In the comment section, I got both answers.
Yeah.
I see JT saying that he got cut, and I see Logan saying, by the way, he got the John Wall treatment. So I don't actually know if he's available to sign or if he is just basically waiting out his days getting paid from the Clippers to not be there. Now, as a selfish Chris Paul fan, I hope he signs a 10-day with OKC. But it's a separate story.
So basically, this is from ESPN. The Clippers are parting ways with Chris Paul. The team just announced the team will work with him on the next step of his career. So technically, I guess they didn't cut him. According to that report, they didn't cut him. They're working on I don't know if they're going to get him somewhere. I don't know how they're going to do it. But that's what ESPN tweeted.
Well, in theory, you could potentially trade him because I'm sure he's an expiring, right?
Yeah, probably so.
So you could probably put him in some trade if you really want to, just to make the salaries match. But yeah, once again, I want to mention Chris Paul. It doesn't matter for actual games because he's completely cooked at this point, and the Clippers are a joke. But still, wanted to mention Chris Paul. Depressing, the way things have unfolded for the Clippers and for Chris Paul's return to LA. Anyway, though, for the injury report, the Clippers are somewhat healthy, but mentally they checked out about 2 months ago. For Atlanta, you still have no Porzingis, you have no Trae Young, but you have Jalen Johnson, you have Okonkwo, you have good players. Look, I know that I've been doing a trap line of the night, and I won again yesterday. I took the Celtics because the line looked very trappy. 3-0 on trap lines this season, at least since I started doing the mini segment. This looks like a trap line because the line feels pretty short. There's no chance I'm taking the Clippers. Like 0% chance I will ever take the Clippers this season. It's not worth the time. Some people argue that the juice is not worth the squeeze with certain teams. The Clippers are dead to me. They should be dead to everybody. This team lost by what, 80 to Miami? Like, it was embarrassing. That game was over. Ty Lue benched all the starters 2 minutes into the third quarter and then brought them back out for the fourth quarter. So the players are quitting. Nobody wants to be there. Atlanta's fun They're a fun young team. If I'm going to mention the Paolo stuff, I have to mention the Trey stuff because they've been better without him so far this season. Give me Atlanta at home. We know the crowd atmosphere in Atlanta's solid. The Clippers want to just roll over already because they've been rolling over for the last week and a half, if not month and a half. Good enough for me. I know that it might seem trappy. I really don't care. I think the books are just overvaluating the Clippers. They were favored by 9.5 against Dallas, 7.5 against Memphis. I can't even say that this is a trap line. The books have just been wrong about the Clippers for the entire season. So I don't even know if it's a trap line. I just think that the power rankings, according to the metrics and you could argue, sportsbook models, have been wrong on the Clippers. Give me the Hawks, -3.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much laid everything out right there. Clippers, I mean, they're horrible ATS. I think they're like 8-16 ATS or something like that. But, I mean, they show no signs of any team that you want to put money on, to be honest, whether that's, as a dog or as a favorite. Atlanta's been really good. I think they covered 6 of the last 10. I love the energy that they're playing with. Mm-hmm. They've been playing better.
Alexander Walker, guy can play.
They've been playing better defensively, kind of connected a little bit more. I like the bench production that they're getting. They're really long and athletic on the wing, which could cause the Clippers some issues. I like the Hawks here. I mean, I think it got bet up. I think it opened 2.5, and that was.
I saw 2.5 last night.
Yeah, so I agree with that move. I would still lay the 3.5. I don't think the Clippers are a fadeable team until. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they'll be backable at any point for the rest of the season unless some drastic things happen.
Yeah, I see Jamie saying that Harden under because, we're in Atlanta. For the record, it is probably the worst back-to-back for Harden imaginable. You have at Miami into at Atlanta, which is very, very, I'd say, tricky for Harden to handle. Then again, did you watch the Harden recent interview or whatever? Because allegedly he's in love now, so he might have retired the club. I don't know. We'll see. His jersey's still retired, so that still counts. But, yeah, Harden's in love now, allegedly. So we'll see if he's still going to the club. But, yeah, Harden in Miami, then in Atlanta back-to-back. It's a worth monitoring situation. I'll put it that way. Shout out to Harden, by the way, who was a -39 against Miami in the last game in plus-minus. But I'm on Atlanta. The Clippers are a joke. I think you could argue that there are some trap lines around, but some teams are so bad they're exempt from the trap line status. The Clippers are exempt. This team's a joke. And I was early on the Clippers being terrible. Like, very early on, I said this team is not any good. And it turns out I was more right than I thought I was going to be. I did not think they'd be this bad. But damn, this team sucks. Either way, though, point is, we'll see if Harden's actually focused at all for this game. But, yeah, I think they get buried, personally, for this one. Moving on to the next game, you have a rematch that we saw about a week ago. You have the Hornets taking on the Knicks. Now, the last time I saw the Hornets, they lost at full strength to my Nets. Yeah, the Hornets, not any good. For the Knicks, lost yesterday against Boston. They were getting killed early, fought back, then lost in the fourth quarter. Walsh was great for Boston in that fourth quarter. And, of course, Jaylen Brown did have 40 and change. For the injury report, you have no OG and no Shamet. We'll see if anybody sits on the back-to-back. For Charlotte, you have LaMelo, who's probable for this game. No Connaughton, no Green, no Brandon Miller, who's out for this game. No Trey Man. I don't know if it matters. Like, Charlotte is a joke. And even when LaMelo plays and Bridges plays and everybody that, once again, is healthy on the roster, they still can't win because nobody plays defense on this team. This team stinks. And I think LaMelo's days in Charlotte are numbered, but that's more down the road. I'll wait for the trade deadline for that to happen. The Knicks just beat Charlotte by about 20 on the road. They're awful loss. They're great at home. I don't really know why this would change. I'll go for the Knicks -8.5.
Yeah, I think this line is way too short. I think it should be closer to double digits. I understand the Knicks are on a back-to-back. Not a ton of travel. I mean, just from Boston, back to the Garden. And they played this team not too long ago. They were laying 6.5 on the road. They demolished them. They're 10-1 ATS at home. The home road splits for the Knicks are just outrageous, on top of the matchup being favorable for them. So this is one of my favorite bets on the card. I love the Knicks. I would lay it. I would probably ladder this up to 14, 15. I think this is a big, big win for the Knicks.
Yeah, I think the Knicks will be pissed after losing to Boston. They're much better at home than on the road. Charlotte, I mean, this team's awful. they got blown up by the Nets in the second half. It was ugly. Porter Jr. at 35. Bridges no-showed the entire game. LaMelo was actually fine. He had a double-digit assist game. It didn't matter. Like, this team stinks. There's really nothing else to add. So, yeah, there you go. I think the Knicks probably rout them. I'll go for the Knicks in this game. Moving on to the next game, the Nets taking on the Bulls. Both teams have not been good lately. Bulls, though, are 6-2 at home. So they have been very good at home. Nets 4-16 beat Charlotte. Porter Jr. came back. Damn, he's been so good this season. Porter Jr., shout out to him. But either way, injury report, Porter Jr. right now is not listed, so he's going to be fine for this game. Still no Cam Thomas, still no Terrence Mann, I mean. For the Bulls, I see Trey Jones is probable for this game. I see a couple questionable tags. I see Jalen Smith questionable, Terry questionable, Kobe White is out. I see Herter is out, and I see Zach Collins questionable for this game. Now, the Bulls, we know, have been god-awful for the last couple of weeks. The Nets have not been good, but you know what? They are somewhat competitive, at least when Porter Jr. plays. The Bulls, though, have lost 4 in a row. They've allowed 123-plus in 3 of their last 4. They are really not good. At the moment, said before, though, they are 6-2 at home. So, Lonte, I'll ask you, do you think 7.5 is too many? Or do you think the Nets just get buried on the road? Because first glance, I think the Nets can actually win this game outright. Yeah. I think the Nets can actually keep this game close.
Completely agree. I like the 7.5. Nets, they may have been losing games. Both teams are 1-4 straight up the last 5. But the Nets have been fighting. I mean, they're 6-4 ATS the last 10. They're 5-5 ATS on the road. So right at 500. I know the Bulls have good numbers at home as far as the ATS margin. I think they're 5-2-1 ATS. But overall, they've not covered an 8 of the last 10. Matchup-wise, I think it's a decent matchup for the Nets. The Bulls give up a ton of points. They're going to let you get into your offense. I think MPJ should have a monster night. They don't really have a wing defender that should give him any problems. I know Patrick Williams is one of those guys who people thought could be that. But I mean, he's nowhere near that. I think the Nets are live to win this game. So I'm going to take the 7.5. And I would go over. I know the Nets have issues like scoring the ball.
Nobody has issues against Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where I was going. So I would go over, but I like the dog here. I think the Nets are live to win this outright.
Yeah, I think that I see Brian mentioned the Bulls are going to destroy the Nets. Look, on paper, you could argue they should. I don't trust the Bulls to destroy anybody right now, based on current form. I don't really want to lay 7.5. I get that they've been good at home this season. The Nets have not been good, but watching the Nets play, I'm one of the only people that actually does that because I'm still a diehard fan. Look, the team's not any good, but the Bulls against even the games they've won, by the way, they are currently 2-5 in their last 7. They beat the Wizards by 1, and they beat Portland by 1. So they have not won a game by the way, just to pull out a crazy stat here, the Bulls have not won a game by more than 3 points. Do you want to guess the last time that happened? Just to take a guess.
Late October.
That is correct.
Yeah.
The Bulls beat the Knicks by the Bulls beat the Knicks by 10 points on October 31st. That's the last time the Bulls have won a game by 4+ points. It's been over a month since the Bulls have won a game by more than 3 points. I cannot take them laying 7.5. That sounds fake, by the way. It's true. The Bulls have won a couple of games by 3 points, by 2 points, and 2 games by 1 point. I am not picking them to win by 3-4 possessions. That can't happen for me. Give me the Nets to hang in there for this matchup. Once again, October 31st, the last time the Bulls won a game by 4+ points. I cannot lay 7.5 with you. That cannot happen. I like the over, though. Bulls don't play any defense. Moving on to the next game. Kings, speaking of bad teams, taking on the Rockets. Rockets lost the back-to-back against Utah, which Terrell and I liked Utah in. Classic deja vu game. For this one, Rockets laying 15.5. Over-unders 231.5. Yeah, the Kings are garbage. Schroeder's questionable. Monk's probable. Sabonis still out. For the Rockets, I see Adams being questionable. Easton is out. Still no Finney-Smith. So I'll ask you, massive spread. Houston, awful loss. Should be motivated. They should kill this team. You think Sacramento hangs in there? Or do you think this game's ugly, early, and often?
Yeah, I think the Rockets absolutely manhandle the Kings. I mean, number one, they don't have any size. The Kings. What the hell are they going to do about
I think
Gamble?
Eubanks is the worst starting center in the league.
Like, I don't know what they're going to do on the offensive or defensive glass. Like, they are not able to get second chance points. Number one, they're not able to rebound defensively. I mean, the Rockets are going to play volleyball with the ball on the offensive glass. I think they bury him. Rockets returning from a 4-game road trip, if I'm not mistaken. So they're back home after that loss. I think they bury the Kings. I mean, this is a horrible matchup for the Kings. I think it's just that simple. They just don't have enough size, number one. They don't have enough shot makers, number two. And number three, like, what are they, like, how are they going to score or stop Houston from scoring? I just don't see a pathway to that. So I'm laying it with Houston. I think this is one of my top three. I thought about making this, my lock of the day because I like it so much.
Yeah, I see Mike asking if the Rockets 103 quarters is a
Love that.
potential play today.
Love it.
Yes,
Love it.
yes, it is.
Love
But look, I think they killed this team. I think at the end of the day, you could argue if Adams doesn't play, suddenly the Kings might have something because Capella's got nothing left in the tank as far as I'm concerned. But if Adams plays, he's going to kill this team. Şengün should kill this team. Almond could get a bunch of rebounds too. They're not going to be able to rebound the ball. Like, simply put, the Kings play no defense. It's the Levine and DeRozan isolation show, which is not ideal in 2025. The Rockets off a loss should really kill this team. I don't mind a first half spread. Pick Houston to come out early. Maybe they bench the entire team in the fourth quarter, and you want to avoid that. But, yeah, first three quarters, 100, I think has value. I don't mind that. I think Houston routes them, especially at home in this game. So I agree with the big spread. You could argue maybe Westbrook might have a double-digit rebound game because somebody has to rebound on this team. Maybe, but I don't know if it actually matters. So I'm going to go with the Rockets minus the 15.5. Checking, though, quickly what I can find for that 100 in three quarters play. The Rockets are plus 210, which is not that bad. So I don't mind plus 210 for Houston 100 points in the first three quarters. Moving on to the Pistons taking on the Bucks. Pistons laying 4.5. The over-under is at 230.5. Injury report for Detroit. You have Duncan Robinson who's being questionable for this game. That's basically it. For Milwaukee, I see Giannis is probable. He deleted all Buck stuff on social media, but apparently he's going to play in this game. You have Kevin Porter Jr. who's questionable. Who's actually been good since come back from injury. And I see no Prince and Gary Harris, I forgot, is still in the league. I'll ask you, though. This line's pretty short. Detroit laying 4.5. Milwaukee, not any good, at least based on the last couple of weeks. Lonte, line feels pretty short, but do you want to take Detroit?
Yeah, I like Detroit here. They were laying 8.5 the last matchup. I know that Giannis didn't play in that matchup, but going from 8, I mean, he's worth a lot. But just the way the Bucks have been playing, I don't think he's worth that full 4 points right now. So I think the number should be closer to like 5.5. I mean, the Pistons are one of the best ATS teams on the road. So don't like the way the Bucks are playing. I think the Bucks are 3-7 ATS the last 10. So
For the record, the Pistons already beat the Bucks in Milwaukee by 13 this season.
Yeah, and they were laying 8.5 in that game. Giannis didn't play, but they were phenomenal. So I'm going to take the Pistons. I think these games are typically like played in a competitive level, and I do think the 4.5 is a competitive point spread, and I think it'll be competitive early, and then the Pistons will pull away like they typically do. They typically play them well, although Milwaukee's I think covered 4 of the last 5, but this is a different Pistons team. This is a different Bucks team. I do think Detroit exerts their will and comes out with a 6-7 point win.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think you'd argue it's a trap line as well, but Milwaukee's not good enough for me to actually trust as well, so I'm not going to bother. I'll give me Detroit in this game. Not going to really overthink it. Moving on to the next game, the Heat taking on the Mavericks. Played a close game a couple weeks ago, but the Heat did get the win at home. Heat laying 5.5, and the over-unders at 241.5. Injury report for this game. Norman Powell's questionable. I see Larson is also questionable. For Dallas, Gafford's questionable, PJ's questionable, and Lively is out. But Dallas, you know what? They've looked more competent lately. A flag at 35 in a game earlier this week, so he's been looking a lot better. I'll ask you, though, because Dallas hung in there the first game, and you know what? They've been better lately. So what are your thoughts? Because Dallas has won 2 in a row. Yes, the Clippers are a fake team. Beat Denver in Denver, and maybe they found a point guard with Nembhard, but Miami's been quite good. So I'll ask you, Thoughts on this one? Because this looks like a trap line to me. Looks like Miami should be a bigger favorite, and I think Dallas might be live to win this.
I love Dallas in this spot, man. You talked about them winning 2 games in a row. They've covered 4 of the last 5. They look like just a completely different team, especially with AD on the floor. I think that obviously it's an adjusting period for Flag when you're putting the ball in his hands, and he's not really a point guard. So making him be a point guard is going to take time for others to kind of adjust. You got guys in and out of the lineup. Obviously, they played a tougher schedule, but right now, I mean, we talked about what they did against Miami. Played them well. They got the confidence kind of building up going into a good stretch. And I think once, I don't know what the deal is with Kyrie, if he's going to come back or whatever the case may be.
It's going to be in 2026 at some point, if ever. So he's going to be out for the next at least couple months, and then we'll see what happens in, I want to say, February, March.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring him back because, I mean, they're not going to the postseason. So I would let him get that 4 year
Well, the West is so bad, maybe they can find a playing spot.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. The West is looking very like East-ish back in when they were really bad.
Oh, it's all top end. The bottom end's terrible.
Yeah, so I probably wouldn't bring him back unless you kind of see something with like a chance or a pathway for you to get there. But I think you want to just grow with this group and see what you have and kind of build on that going into next year. And I like them in this game. I think the Heat have been playing really well. They're one of the best teams, ATS on the road. I think they're 5-3-1 ATS on the road. Love what they're doing with their offense. Their defense has been up a notch, especially with we talked about the Ware Bam combo and how effective they've been playing off of one another. And I think that's underrated. Some underrated things that they do, but I think Dallas can combat that with their size, especially with AD. I know Lively's out, but Gafford will be there. I mean, they have a lot of size to be able to combat with what Miami wants to do well. So I'm going to take the Mavs here. I think they're live to win the game outright.
Yeah, I think this might be my trap line of the night, which has been pretty good to me lately. I like Miami. I think Norman Powell not playing is a big deal, so we'll see what his status is for this game. Dallas has been better, and if Nembhard could even be mediocre as a point guard, that's going to help out a lot. AD had a great game against Joker. Maybe we'll see if every other day, AD another day, shows up where he's terrible today, maybe good the game after. But you know what? He was great against Joker. And, of course, we think he could have a good matchup here. I'll go for Dallas in this game. I think that it's a matchup where people will blindly take Miami. They just beat the Clippers by 20. They've been in good form lately. I mean, Powell's fantastic. I know that this is a deep roster. Powell's really, really good. But Dallas hung in there in the first meeting. And AD didn't play in that game. And now they're at home. I think that Dallas is pretty live to win this game. So I'll actually go for Dallas. My trap line of the day is Miami -5.5. I'll go for Dallas in this game personally. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for all the games on the Wednesday card. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. Lonte, what do you like as your lock and dog for Wednesday?
Pretty simple for me. We just talked about the dog. I love the Mavericks in the spot. I'm going to take the 5.5, but I do think they can win it outright. Just from everything that we just went over, the familiarity from not playing just about a couple weeks ago, all the way up to how well they're playing. Covered 4 in a row, won 2 of those. Their home court has been. I know everybody's talked about it, but the home court has been a lot better since the Nico firing. You've seen fans kind of be back to what they normally are. Obviously, the Luka loss is still what it is, but I like the Mavericks in this spot. I'm going to take them as a dog at home. For the lock, I'm going with the Knicks. I mean, I think this line should be closer to 10.5, 11. I think they bury Charlotte, especially being at home. I know it's off a back-to-back, but it's a perfect matchup for the Knicks to kind of exercise some demons after that loss last night to their interconference rival.
Yeah, for my lock, I was going to do another player prop. I know rebounds have been good to me, so I was wondering if I should stay in the rebounds area or if I should switch out to a different prop. But a part of me was looking at Şengün points against Sacramento because I just think he's going to kill that team on the inside, especially if Adams doesn't play. It's just going to be a bunch of free space for Şengün to operate, and I've said many times on the show, I think that right now Eubanks is the worst starting center in the entire league. I think Eubanks is horrible. So I thought that was a good option for Şengün. But I want to just quickly see if there's any rebound guys I want to go for this game. I mean, or for this matchup. The Bucks have been good against centers, so I don't want to go with Duran blindly for this one. I mean, Zubac really should dominate the boards against Atlanta, but I'm concerned they're going to get routed again. So I don't know if I actually want to go for that, but Let me just quickly see what Zubac's numbers are against the Hawks, because I don't think Okonkwo has the actual size to deal with Zubac on the boards. I mean, Zubac's been kind of up and down, rebounding-wise, against Atlanta, so that could be an option, but I think I'll just go for what I said before. Give me Şengün points. I'll take the over 22.5 at minus 120. I think he's got a good matchup. He's at 24-plus in 2 of the last 3 against Sacramento. He had 21 in the middle game there. Sacramento can't stop anybody. They allow the 3rd most points in the paint per game. If Adams doesn't play, we know Adams is a veteran who I don't think is going to need to play in this game. They might sit him. Capella, I think, is completely washed. But I see Şengün getting a bunch of touches. I think that he's going to have Eubanks in the blender tonight. Give me Şengün to go over his points at 22.5 as my lock at minus 120. For the dog, did I want to go with Dallas? Or is that too bold for me here? Let me just quickly see if there's any player props that I like for the matchup here. I could do a 1-10, which has not been as good for me this year as it was last year. So I'm wondering if I want to go for something else. He's coming off the bench, but I mean, I love the matchup for him here. And they need the size. So let me just quickly see if it's a good spot. Sorry, just checking something quickly. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go for it. He's coming off the bench, but he had it against Dallas in the last meeting. Give me Ware double-double at plus 220 for this game. We know Bam, rebounding-wise, is very streaky, and it could drive people nuts. Ware, though, is a very good rebounder. I know he's coming off the bench now, but with the size that Dallas has, I think it's a good spot for Ware to play more minutes. He had 20 and 18 in the first meeting this season. I know Spoelstra has his new rotation. Then again, if Powell's out, we'll see if they go back to the Ware starting lineup. We'll see what happens. But I think Ware double-double is a great price. When he had 20 and 18 against this team about a week and a half ago, give me Ware double-double in this one at around plus 220 as my dog for the show. Anyway, for Underdog, Lonte, what do you want to go with? Any players you want to target?
You can recycle that Şengün play because I really like that one.
Okay. We'll go with Şengün, 22.5 points.
I'm trying to think. I like Brunson. I know it's going to be high, but I mean, I think he has a field day with that coverage for that he's going to see with Charlotte. I don't know if you like that.
It was also terrible last night, so he's probably going to bounce back in this game. And I mean, for the record, if you want to do it a bit differently, we can take Brunson first quarter points at 8.5.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Just he'll start off early. We'll ignore the potential blowout, and we'll see if he gets off to a hot start.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine with me. And I don't know. I'm struggling on the last one.
Let me just see if there's anything else we can take here. I don't know if I want to go for Ware again for rebounds, but that is an option.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
Let me just see what Joker triple double is for this game. It's expensive as hell.
What about Michael Porter Jr. PR?
I'm fine with that. Porter Jr. has been great, and Chicago doesn't guard anybody. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to go for Porter Jr. PR, 31.5. I like that. Cool. So the 3 pick for Underdog, we're going to go with Şengün, higher 22.5 points. Brunson, higher 8.5 first quarter points. And Michael Porter Jr., higher 31.5 PR. Anyway, that's going to wrap up for the show. Back once again tomorrow. And until next time, find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio. Find me on Twitter at XLonteXX. Good luck to all of you.